In 1957, there was a platypus named Penelope that faked her own pregnancy and escaped from the Bronx Zoo. Her story is as funny as it is wild. Penelope and her would-be mate Cecil were brought to the United States in 1947. They didn't much like their new platypussery. Yes, you heard that right. Today you learned a house for a platypus is called a platypussery. In fact, they hated their new surroundings so much that Penelope refused to eat until her tank's awning was changed, and Cecil was very upset until his tank color was changed. The zoo even had to change uniform colors to try and make them happy. It even went so far that the zoo denied entry to women wearing bright clothing. This made the platypussery the most expensive exhibit at the Bronx Zoo. Once all of their demands were met, the duo ate a daily meal of 30 live crayfish, 300 worms, a frog, and some scrambled eggs. Penelope didn't like Cecil very much. Zookeepers desperately wanted Penelope and Cecil to mate. Cecil would sometimes break into Penelope's side of the enclosure and attempt to seduce her by biting her tail and holding on as she waddled in circles around the pool. Penelope wasn't shy about expressing her hatred towards Cecil. She was observed trying to climb the edges of her enclosure every time Cecil came near her. Eventually, zookeepers tried again to get them to mate and put Cecil in Penelope's enclosure. She was much more receptive of his advances this time, and the couple spent 4 days making love. 4 days proved to be enough for Penelope as she began becoming aggressive towards Cecil again. Zookeepers were sure that they had mated because Penelope started carrying eucalyptus leaves into her burrow, as if she was making a nest. Penelope also started eating enormous portions of worms and larvae. The young were expected to be ready for the outside world in 18 weeks. After 17 weeks, the temperature was expected to be dangerously cold for the young, so zookeepers decided to explore the mound. Reporters and photographers gathered around to see the young. After digging for multiple hours, they found a platypus, which they realized was Penelope. There were no young. She had faked the whole thing. Zookeepers felt like they had been duped. They accused Penelope of posing as an expectant mother just to lead a life of luxury on double rations. In July 1957, Penelope escaped her enclosure. It was assumed she had escaped over the fence to evade Cecil's advances. The zoo assembled 15 people as a search party. The party searched the nearby Bronx River and local ponds for multiple weeks before giving up. Cecil was very affected by Penelope's disappearance and started scratching his head a lot, which isn't something he did before. Cecil lost weight and passed away with no obvious cause the day after the search for Penelope was called off. Penelope was never found.